And that's a real comment from one of you guys. And honestly, that should tell you everything you need to know about this $250 piece of softwares. I'm about to show you why Final Draft might be the biggest waste of money in screenwriting. But you know there's going to be a but. But here's the thing. I actually love the software, which makes what I'm about to tell you even more painful. But by the end of the video, I'm going to give you 3 completely free alternatives that do 90% of what Final Draft does without the crashes, without the $80 upgrades, and without buyer's remorse. Let's dive in. Now, before I tell you what's good about Final Draft, you need to know the truth that the company doesn't really want you to hear. Now, Final Draft, surprise, surprise, is buggy. No, not just it crashes once in a while type of buggy. We're talking multiple crashes per day type of buggy. Now, the Mac version, it's tolerable. A little unstable, but manageable. But my PC brothers and sisters, I generally fear for you. Holy cow, they have not fixed anything. The PC version is a disaster. And here's the worst part. These bugs have been around for, get this, years. Yes, years. Through multiple different versions. And we're talking known issues that Final Draft just hasn't fixed. Now, you remember that reviewer I mentioned? He literally takes a photo of every single page he writes because Final Draft crashes so often. He loses his work all the time. What's up with that? Think about that. In 2025, you're paying $250 for software so unreliable, you need a backup strategy involving your camera phone? You can't make this shit up. You know, since the beginning, I've always tried to reach out to Final Draft about stuff like this, these different known issues, like why haven't the bugs been fixed? What's the plan? And you know what I get back each and every time I send them an email or try to talk to their person on Reddit? Radio silence, which tells you everything you need to know about how seriously they take these issues. And this is honestly inexcusable. You're paying premium money for a software that might crash twice before lunch, and the company has known about it for years. And I think I'm exaggerating. It's probably a lot more than twice. It's probably like 6 to 7 times before lunch, if we're really being honest. And here's my prediction. And this is why Final Draft will eventually go out of business, because there's way more players in the space that are catching up to them. And some of them, here's the cool part, are completely free. Okay, if it's so bad, why do I still use this buggy piece of garbage? Why is it still one of my favorite screenwriting softwares? Now, there's 3 reasons. And the first one is the beatboard. Now, I think they might have had a lot of inspiration from Scrivener when it comes to this. Did they steal the idea? I'm not going to get into that. But to their credit, Final Draft has actually improved on the beatboard that you get in Scrivener. This is hands down one of the best story structuring tools that I've used in all my screenwriting career. Now you can see the whole story at a glance, drag scenes around, color code them, and restructure your script without touching the actual pages, which is what I like. And if you're the kind of writer who needs to see the big picture before diving into dialogue, this is addictive. The second one, collaboration tools. Now, if you're part of a writing team, Final Draft collaboration system is generally excellent. Multiple writers can work on the same script, they can track changes, they can leave notes, and it syncs beautifully. I can't fault them for that. For Writer's Room and Partnership, this is huge, right? Number 3, the interface. It's incredibly customizable. Want a minimalist writing environment with nothing but the page? Done. Want every tool and panel known to man visible? Done. You can make Final Draft work exactly how you work best, which is incredible. Now, these 3 features, the beatboard, collaboration, and customization, are what separate Final Draft from almost everything else on the market at this time. Now, let me tell you something even a little bit more interesting. Final Draft has been around since the early days. It's one of the OG screenwriting softwares in the space. Back when you bought the software, when you came on CD-ROMs, I don't know if some of you people know what CD-ROMs are, but this is how the software used to come to us. And this works so, and this was so good in the day that they actually won an Emmy Award in 2013, a Primetime Emmy Award for their contribution to the industry. But that was then. And that Emmy, well, it's starting to feel like a dusty trophy in an abandoned case. And here's the problem. The price tag, $249. Now, sure, it's usually on sale for about $199, but that's still steep when you see what's out there today. And that's just to start to use it. Because here's something they don't advertise so much. The update. You want to go from version 12 to version 13? That's $80. Could be $125 according to the website. And get this, the major new feature update for 13, which I did a video about, emojis. I'm not joking. And when nobody was buying it, they actually dropped the upgrade price to as low as $50. So overall, you're paying $200 for software with no AI tools. And granted, I know some people don't like AI tools, but that's the only thing I could think of that would get you to $200. There's nothing premium about this price in 2025. And in fact, it really boggles the mind. You're paying $200, $200+ with upgrades to have a software that crashes as much as Final Draft crashes. It just doesn't make sense. As much as I love the other 3 features, which I've showed you, I cannot justify that price tag anymore. Not when there's free alternatives that have gotten this good. Now, let me show you 3 free programs that give Final Draft a run for their money. Now, for each one, I'm going to answer the same question. And does it have a beatboard equivalent? Can you collaborate? Is it stable? And does it export properly? Let's head into them and take a look.
Look at this. Clean, simple, does everything you need for actual screenwriting. You got your text editor, your research module where you can store character notes and location details, and this card function for organizing scenes visually. Now, is this as powerful as Final Draft's beatboard? No, but for most writers, it's enough. Now watch how formatting works. I type in INT, and it knows I'm starting a scene. Hit enter twice, start typing a name, and boom, character name properly formatted. This is automatic screenplay formatting, and it works perfect.
So let's stop and take a look at our checklist. So does it have a beatboard like Final Draft? Unfortunately not, but it does have a card view, which is decent. Is it built-in? Is there built-in collaboration? Nope. Is it stable? Absolutely. There's a little bit with Scenarist, but nothing close to the bugs and errors that you get with Final Draft. And does it export compatibility? Yes, it does PDF, Final Draft, and even Fountain. So here's what you need to know. Scenarist is not getting any updates right now because the developers of Scenarist have moved on to something different called Story Architect. So they've taken all the lessons that they've learned from Scenarist and turned it into a paid program called Story Architect, which you can also check out. And I'll leave a link to a video that I've done about Story Architect if you're curious about that. But honestly, the software is pretty good as is. It doesn't have dual dialogue. And there's one error that continuously happens if you've been working on a file for a little while. It suddenly can't find that file. You simply have to change where you're storing the file, and you'll be able to keep working on your screenplay. It doesn't happen very often. About every 6 weeks or so, I've noticed that particular error, but it's really easy to fix, and it gets you get right back into the action. Nothing like Final Draft. So here's the bottom line. If you're a solo writer who doesn't need collaboration and can live without a full beatboard, Scenarist is a legit Final Draft replacement. And again, it's free.
Alternative number 2 is WriterSolo. This comes from the same developers who make Writer Duet, which is one of the best collaborative tools in the paid space. So they know what they're doing. Now, WriterSolo has more bells and whistles than Scenarist. You've got outlining tools, scene navigation, revision mode, and all these menus and panels. Now, some of you will love this. Some of you will feel a little overwhelmed. It's more feature-rich, but it's also more cluttered than Scenarist's minimalist approach. The actual experience writing is smooth, formatting is automatic, the interface is responsive, and like Scenarist, it's stable.
So let's look at our checklist again for WriterSolo. So again, we take a look at beatboard. Is there a beatboard like Final Draft? No, it's got some outlining tools, but not really the same. Collaboration? Not with the free version. This is the reason why you have Writer's Duet. This is WriterSolo. Again, it's not about collaboration. Is it stable? Absolutely. Export compatibility? Yep. You even got Final Draft format again. So the bottom line is WriterSolo is better than Scenarist if you want a little bit more features. It's also continuously being worked on, so it hasn't stopped in development like Scenarist has. I think WriterSolo is a good middle ground in between Scenarist and Final Draft. It's got more power, but you'll need to spend more time learning where everything is at.
The third option, Boulevard. Boulevard takes the opposite approach from WriterSolo. Instead of more features, it gives you less, in the best way. Look at this, it's just you and the page. There's a notebook function where you can jot down ideas and notes, but that's it. No beat board, no cards, no panels, just writing. For some of you, this is exactly what you need. No distractions, no learning curve, just pure screenwriting.
So here's the final check. Beat board, nope. Again, like I said, you should sort of see that with these free options. That's one thing that's not really present. Collaboration, again, nope. Like I said, you see in the trend. But is it stable? Absolutely. Can it export? Absolutely. So here's the bottom line. If you want a distraction-free writing experience and you don't want any sort of organizational tools, Boulevard is beautiful in its simplicity. I actually did a video on Boulevard, and I'll put that again in the links to the description of this video. Okay, so real quick. So I know I'm going to get a lot of Final Draft viewers here. So real quick, before the verdict, I need you to do something in the comment section below. Have you had Final Draft crash on you before? Like lost actual work because of it? I know I have. They'll drop a skull emoji in the comments because I generally want to know how many people are actually affected by all these. Especially also when you do that, comment whether you have a PC or a Mac. Like I said, I think if we show the comments of this video to Final Draft, maybe they'll get off their hind end and start fixing stuff. All right, let's wrap it up. So here's my honest take. Start with one of the free 3 alternatives. I personally use Boulevard if you just want some simplicity, Scenarist if you want more of a Final Draft type of experience, and WriterSolo if you want more power and features. Write that first script and maybe your second and third as well. And if you hit limitations, if you really need that beat board, if collaboration suddenly becomes essential, then consider Final Draft. But here's the truth. Most of you aren't going to hit those limitations. You're going to write that script, export a beautiful PDF, and never think about the software again. And I've just saved you $250, which in this economy is a lot of money. Now, I'm not going to lie, Final Draft had a great run. The 2013 Emmy was well-deserved for what they did for the industry. But in 2025, with bugs that they don't fix, with a high price that doesn't really match in the marketplace, and having free alternatives around this good, I really think that their dominance is ending. Now, links to all of these free programs are in the description. Also linked will be my full Boulevard tutorial and my video on Scenarist if you want to dive deeper into either of them. If this video saved you $250, please hit the like button. And just to show YouTube and the rest of the writers in the YouTube algorithm that this was a good video for you. And seriously, drop the skull emoji if you've been a victim of Final Draft. I think, like I said, they need to physically see how many people have been disappointed by the amount of bugs that they don't fix. Well, until the next video, live well and write well.